Hello, Trailblazers. I have no idea who's watching right now, but this is my good friend, Lauren Paige, and I welcome you to another edition of the Entrepreneur Journey podcast. Lauren and I have known each other probably over a decade, right? You used to live where I used to live in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the greatest cities in the world to me. Of course, I haven't been all around the world, but you and I, here's what I have to say about Charleston. I don't know how long it was you've been back to Charleston, but we lived when it was the good old days, when it was like a secret oasis and it wasn't overcrowded.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I have family back there that I go back and visit. I'm like, what is this place?
Yeah. There's so many people there now.
Yeah.
But awesome.
I'm thrilled to be here, Doug.
Nice. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business, and then I'm going to get into some kind of getting to know you questions. I know some things about you, but the audience does, obviously. So.
Yeah. I know the loaded question is like, who is this person? I am most recently a mama. I am a devoted partner. I am a businesswoman. I am a fitness and wellness enthusiast. I'm a theater nerd. I grew up as, I guess, like kind of the Cliff Notes version is I grew up as a total theater geek. I wanted to be an actress. And then I learned very quickly that, the entertainment industry can be pretty brutal, especially back in the early 2000s, before there was so much, body positivity movement stuff going on. And so I thought, well, I'm never going to fit this exact, skinny mold that everyone has to do. And so that created a lot of destructive thoughts and whatnot. So I'm back to school for nutrition and dietetics. And I thought, well, if I can learn about food and if I can learn about wellness, then maybe that's a better path. I got really involved in Pilates. That was the first time that I really felt at home in my body. Like I grew up not as an athletic kid. I wasn't doing team sports. So that was the first kind of introduction of like, oh, this is a great way to move your body. And I really ran with that. Where Doug said Charleston, I do feel like I've bounced around quite a bit. People say, was your family in the military? They weren't like convicts or anything. We just happened to move a lot and made a hobby out of it. So I ultimately made my way back to Charleston because I had family there. And I thought there's, like Doug said, it's this oasis beach town in the South. So at 25, and I don't know, like if you have younger entrepreneur listeners tuning in, but I always like to say my best decisions in life have come when I just didn't know any better, which is funny now that we have twins, because, at 25, one of the biggest gifts my parents gave me was to just go ask and see. So I thought, well, is it even possible to own a Pilates studio, like a brick and mortar wellness space where I would offer classes and nutrition? And there's a little room in the back where we offered massage and body modality stuff. And I remember my parents, which God bless, like the bank people who sat through my meetings, but they said, well, you need a commercial business loan if you're going to have a brick and mortar. And I thought, all right, well, how do you get one of those? And I just went and knocked on bank doors and I said, here's my business plan. And I mean, people were so kind. They were like, well, sweetie, maybe your best route is going to be an angel investor, which is code of saying like, you are not a viable person to give money to right now. But I made it happen with a lot of grit. And I think it came at a really special time. When you're in your 20s, I could devote 14 hours a day to like building this business and being there physically. And I built a community around it. I met my then husband at the time and had the studio for probably 5 years until ultimately it made more sense for us to relocate to San Diego, California with his job. So sold the studio, sold the business because it was prolific at the time. And it came at exactly the right time. I was approaching 30. We wanted to start a family. And I wanted to have the best of both worlds. I wanted to be around my children, but I knew that I couldn't just open up another brick and mortar space and live there like I had been for the past 5 years. I wanted to do something in the virtual space, and I didn't know how to tie the virtual stuff with health and wellness. And that's kind of how I fumbled my way forward into what I do now, which is online health and fitness coaching.
Nice. Well,
yeah,
that is awesome. It's nice connecting with you because there's like, since you went to San Diego, there's parts of your story that I didn't know, right? We've known each other. We really haven't kept in touch. Like probably we should have, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
But so that's amazing. I want to kind of we kind of flip-flopped. Usually we go into the entrepreneur journey story after I ask you these questions, but it's fine. We'll flip it. I don't care.
Okay.
So I want to know your opinion, the best things about Charleston, South Carolina, and the best things about San Diego, California.
So it's funny because they're so radically different, and and they're also very similar. Like if you actually kind of look at the country on a map, they shoot right across. One is on the East Coast, one so you can dip your toes in both oceans. And I would say, like I've lived short list, Virginia, New York, New Orleans, Nevada, St. Croix, Atlanta, and some of those that were repeated along the way, Long Beach, Los Angeles. And my two favorite places are Charleston and San Diego by far. They both have a really just low key vibe, which I feel like is really good for my nervous system, to be out of the hustle and bustle of, say, some like the northeastern cities that I've lived in. And people in general are very friendly. And I had mentioned that I was previously married, and I have a lot of family on the East Coast. So when unfortunately we split, a lot of my family said, well, aren't you coming home now? Like, aren't you coming back now? And I was like, oh no, I really like it out here. I would say maybe the only difference, and I'm sure Charleston has come a long way, is especially in the genre that I'm in with health and wellness, people are so active out here. You know, like there's one of the things that I think I had a hard time with in Charleston is it's a pretty party heavy culture. You know, it's like you're always going to a happy hour somewhere. And here it's a very social culture as well, but people are meeting up for like co-ed kickball or just a little bit more wellness-based activities.
Nice. And I have been to San Diego. I don't know. I wish I had the picture here somewhere, but my wife and I on that famous beach with the hotel.
Hotel Del. Yeah.
Yeah. And out of all the places in California, we went to Long Beach, I think. Is it called Long Beach? Long Beach. We went to Los Angeles. San Diego was my favorite too. So
it's pretty really magical.
Nice. One thing that I would point out though is the ocean water is much colder there than it is in Charleston. It's
so that's
totally
a vote
different
for Charleston
temperature.
For sure.
Yeah,
it's hard to get in the water here.
Yeah, but you can't really surf that well in Charleston either if you're a surfer.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed.
So
yeah.
Well, awesome. So let's talk about you being a new mom and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like, what is the most difficult part of that combination?
That's a great question. There's some parts that are easier, if that's helpful to hear for people who are just sitting.
Sure.
And maybe that can lead into, but we'll do the good before that. Prior to this, you know, I run my own business from home, and I think that the people who are most successful are the busiest, meaning that you are like a time blocking, scheduling ninja. So when I first started building my business online from the ground up, obviously I wasn't making a full-time income doing that. So I was still teaching classes and doing workshops, and I've written the book, which Doug and I were talking about earlier. And I felt like it was much easier to start a business, the side gig. So for anybody who's like looking to do like a side hustle or a passion project, like do that alongside of what you've already been doing, because when you have 8 hours a day, it's real easy to get distracted, to say, I'm going to put off my IPA activities, my income producing activities till later. And so for the past year or two, and I know we were in this, you know, weird, foggy pandemic situation, but I don't want to say it was hard to work my business, but I didn't have that purpose really. And the beautiful thing is children make you real present real fast. They get your head out of the clouds real fast. But what's been helpful running a business with kids is that I have to be so smart with my time. I have to be so efficient, because those nap times are, you know, far and few between. And we did, like, I do have help a couple hours a day. And so that's key about maximizing that time. And I feel like I'm much more productive during 3 hours of babysitting time than 8 hours of let me figure out what to do with my day. The cons are, so you said, what's the hardest part? The hardest part is the unpredictability. And I actually just spoke about this yesterday in my stories. You know, there's these like magical days, and I have a set of twins. So there are these magical days where they're like perfectly synced up on schedule. They nap for like 2 hours at a time. And I am living the best of both worlds. And then there's other days where they both totally fall apart. And actually those days are not the hardest, because you all of a sudden you go into this, like, I don't know if you feel like this as a parent, Doug, but you just go like, you're in survival mode. You're like, all right, I'm in it. This is what I'm built for. The kids need me. And you're like, business is going to have to take a back burner. The hard days are where you're trying to be present in both places. When one kid wakes up too early from the nap, or the other one is fussy, or this one, and you're like, if I could just send out a couple emails, but you really can't because the kids are hanging on you. Those, I think, are the hardest days.
Nice. I love that. I think that is such good advice. And the idea of being efficient in a shorter amount of time, like you can get so much more done if you're really focused. If you're really focused, and I like the concept when you have that larger window, it's harder to focus, right? Because there's just so much more that I could put that off, like you said, I could put that off till later in the day because I have more time. Awesome. That's so awesome. Now let's talk. I know you love nutrition and you make probably amazing smoothies. What is your favorite smoothie ingredients?
Okay, so this goes through seasons with me because I have been consuming a version of the superfood shake for the past 5 years. And it's funny, when I had my studio in Charleston, I feel like a bunch of different companies would walk through the door and say, hey, you've got retail space, sell my pills, my bars, my shakes, my schmears, my wraps. And I never really found anything that I could get behind because I was like, you work so hard to get integrity to get people through the door that I was like, I'm not trying to sell anything. And then I ultimately got partnered up with Beachbody when I moved out to San Diego, and their superfood shake is the best on the market that I've been exposed to. It's incredible. But with that said, I've been drinking the same shake for 5 years, right? So I find that I really like a good, just classic chocolate, half a banana. The key to making a good smoothie is putting in either frozen zucchini or cauliflower rice, because you sneak in a serving of vegetables without even tasting it, and it gives it that like frosty like consistency. It makes it like nice and creamy and thick. So and then I do that. It's summertime here, so I will probably choose a more tropical flavor and just shake it up with ice water and head out the door. Through my pregnancy, I had a lot of food aversions and I was pretty sick through a lot of it. And so I used the smoothie superfoods powder, and I would make like a pudding bowl out of it and just use less liquid. So there's lots of fun stuff you can do that people should, we're just in such, whatever you use, I think we should be smart about our labels and know that unfortunately the quality of our soil and the quality of our nutrients just isn't what it was 50 years ago, 10 years ago. So unfortunately, like some level of supplementation is necessary.
Yeah, I have a couple comments on that. First of all, cauliflower, not a fan. But
you can't even taste it.
That's what I was going to say. How can you really not taste it? Like my wife's tried to make cauliflower mashed potatoes before. No,
you're right. You can still taste it in the mashed potatoes. This, you just as long as you have to have a good blender. You have to have a good blender. Then just put like a cup of frozen, and it's got to be frozen because that makes it, nice and like an ice cream consistency almost.
Yeah. Okay. And the other comment is about the food quality. My wife and I watched a documentary the other day about how farms are like being managed now, and it's just not.
Which one was it?
Was it just called Food? I don't know. It was something like a one word thing, and it was just the package, like animals all together, and
I know. It's like hard to. It's like you're supposed to be a responsible consumer and watch these kind of documentaries, and you're also like, oh God, I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah, I'd almost rather not know.
Yeah.
But it is good to know, so you can make wise decisions. So.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Now, anything else? Like I said, we kind of dived into your entrepreneur journey in the beginning. So, is there anything else we might have missed in there? Well, let me ask you this: is there anything you wish that you had known sooner or done differently on your entrepreneur journey?
Good question, because I feel like there's been two phases. There's been like the brick and mortar phase. Both, I think, like some of the most things that were helpful for me. And then because I now mentor other coaches in this industry, and I find the ones who have success all have like a couple of common traits or common things that they do. And to me, that is always be open and teachable. So I love the analogy of success leaves clues. So if you, if you seek out, if you want to be a really good piano player, you're going to find a concert pianist to teach you. You're not going to find like, I don't know, a hardware store owner to teach you. Like you're gonna find the person who's had the most success in that industry. And so, and not everybody has access to like, say these tippy top coaches. And, there's that phrase of like, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. But what if you don't have a really spectacular crew that you're running with? Then like the more ferocious of a reader you can be, the better, or podcast consumer at this point. Like I know that's a big Audible listener. One of the, I guess, business action steps that my mentor gave me. And so I'm a box checker. So I just figured it was part of the thing that really, I think made the biggest difference is like reading, consuming some sort of at least 10 minutes a day, 10 pages a day of something that's going to fuel your mind. As much as I teach health and fitness, the funny thing is like, I really feel like the mindset work is what I really do.
Yeah. I mean,
what I really do.
To me, there's 2 things in business that you got to get right, and that is the mindset, right? Because if you don't have that right, you're in 100%. For a long hard thing. And relationships, you have to know how to cultivate and build strong relationships. In almost any business out there. There are some businesses when you can hide in the closet and grow your business, but not many.
Right. So. And we're in a really interesting time with social media. Do you have like, is there a predominant genre that your listeners are in business with? Is it a lot of tech?
No, most of my audience is coaches and consultants, if that's what you're asking. Most of my audience are online entrepreneurs. They have some kind of online business.
Yeah. Okay. So when I got started, like I'm in the same boat. When I got started, it was kind of like the Hey Girl theme. The like, how can we just message as many people as possible? I hate to like, do a surface level connection, hope they bought whatever our product or service or consulting thing was. And, people have obviously gotten really savvy to that for the better. But at the same time, we're in this like social media world where people think, oh, I've just got to have the most amount of followers, likes, yada, yada, in order they equate with dollars. And that's not the case. And unfortunately, like what I've seen is I've had some really quality people come into my industry and on my team that are incredible. But when they get exposed to this rat race of like what it's supposed to look like online, they're like, oh, whoa, this is like not for me. So I think really changing the narrative of like exactly what you said, building those quality connections with people.
Very, very true. That's just like the heart for me. I run a mastermind on Fridays just so the group can build those connections. And one thing I've noticed even just recently is when my business starts to drag a little bit, it's because I've let go of what I do best, and that's building those connections.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's just amazing.
You're spot on.
So let's talk about something else. Most of my audience are entrepreneurs, are coaches, consultants, right? Yep. Online entrepreneurs. Many of them are female, and much like you, growing a thriving business and raising a family. So what tips do you have them around fitness to keep their energy is very important, right? So what tips do you have for them around keeping their energy levels up?
Gosh, I am so flippin' passionate about this because I run on so little sleep. And before kids, I mean, I was somebody that was like, oh no, I got like just shy of 7 hours. I don't know how I'm going to make it through the day. Like I was such a prima donna, and sleep is hugely important. Don't get me wrong. Like you should get proper quality, high quality sleep. It's also been really enlightening to see how much the human person can function on so little sleep, especially being a new parent. And if I did not have a 30-minute practice to put into place at some point in my day, I couldn't hang. I couldn't make it the whole day with the kids and the business and the whole thing. So I personally live and die by at-home workouts. I'm not in a season where I can, cart around town with 2 small babies and take them places and nap schedules and then try to match up with like a studio class schedule as well. So right now my kids take 3 naps a day, and I just make sure that it happens in one of those 3 naps, ideally in the morning because I feel the best. But One of those naps, I will do that before I do an income producing activity in my business, because it's like, if you're not right, if you don't have endorphins flowing, the whole ship is going to go down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me, because I'm looking at, not that I'm a mom and I'm balancing all of that, but I'm looking at my energy levels and what I used to do. And I'd love to get your feedback on this, because this is a transition that I'm making. Is I used to have my waking up time, let's call it. I would read, I would do
Morning
Bible
process.
study, and then I would work out, right? To get ready for my day. Having read some things that kind of made me want to flip that a little bit, because your big rocks for business, it's basically said, as soon as you wake up, start working on those big rocks, because the distraction are going to come sooner than you think. And then right after that, work on, sharpening your mind, sharpening your body, sharpening your spirit. So I'm working on kind of flipping it around just a little bit, but still trying to get that in at the top of the day, but working on my business big rocks first. So.
Ooh, interesting. You're gonna have to let me know how this goes. I know, and I've tweaked it. I haven't tweaked it with putting business first. Because a lot of your listeners are in the same boat. Our whole world happens on technology. And so I have a really hard and fast rule, like, no, I will not wake up to my cell phone. Like, it's on airplane mode until I get done with, in a perfect world, it would be on airplane mode until I finish that 30-minute workout. And then I like a morning practice with spiritual, any kind of journaling, any kind of reading. Before kids, that was like a beautiful 45-minute practice. Now I'm like reading a little quick devotional or like a little tidbit and writing down 3 things I'm grateful for and pressing play. But so I have I feel 2 ways about this. I have a really hard time deviating away from like having technology on that early in the day, but I'm somebody who gets pretty distracted. So I love the idea of the eating the frog, as they say, or like getting those items checked off. That sounds really appealing. And I do know that like in my business, there's we call them power hours, where like there's like a list of tasks that we have to do. And so a lot of people will host as like a community effort. They'll say, hey, let's all hop on Zoom and 6 a.m. and do a 6 a.m. power hour. So we're like in community together. And the times that I've participated in that, like, I feel like I am businesswoman of the year for sure.
And I haven't gone full tilt into it yet, but the few times that I've done it, I do feel like I've gotten so much more accomplished business wise than I have like in a whole day, like in that first like hour and a half than I could in like 5 or 6 hours of actually the rest of the day. So I like that. And I feel like depending on how much you load your schedule, you can shorten your day even. Like the time, like you can take off earlier because you produce so much at the beginning. So it's to be determined.
You got my wheels turning. So okay.
But you're in a different situation. So your kids kind of dictate your schedule a lot. So
yeah, they do. They do.
So, but
they do.
And that makes sense. It's your priority, and that's as it should be. So,
yeah.
But you do amazing with the time that you have. That they're not like.
And I don't know if any like other entrepreneurs can speak to this, or if this is just like maybe some money reprogramming I need to work through with a therapist. But I just feel like, okay, if I'm going to spend money on babysitter dollars, I've got to maximize my productivity. And so that's also like an incentive. Like I have 3 hours of babysitter time where that helps keep me on track.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything negative in my, I mean, I'm not a money expert by no means, but I don't think there's anything negative about thinking that way, trying to be the most productive in the best in those hours. So
not squander the time.
So let's talk about you as a trainer, and what's the biggest benefit of working with a trainer rather than just like watching videos online or trying to walk through your fitness journey. A lot of people say, oh, I know how to exercise, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
I know I've worn a lot of different hats in the fitness world. And I think that if you have a specific issue or injury, like there's always good that can come out of working with somebody who is skilled in that, especially in a modality that's more like Pilates, yoga, that physical therapy, where it really deals with the systems and mechanics of the body. I think that the harm in saying like jumping around on YouTube is that it's YouTube. You can just, anybody can upload anything and they can say I'm an expert, and there's also no programming. So what I work with my clients on now is I truly just act as their cheerleader, their coach. So I don't do any like in-person training anymore. And I think I mentioned I partner with Beachbody, and the beautiful thing is like they vet these super trainers and they do clinical trials, and they're like, all right, if you say that you're going to create a 21-day program or a 30-day program or 60-day, like we need to see that you're producing results for a large quantity of people. And what I do is I host this online group. It's a private app off social where people, it syncs up with their workouts, so they just snap a quick sweaty selfie. I think the biggest piece of all fitness is consistency. I make all of my clients read the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, which is a quick read. And and because it's the things that are so easy to just skip over for the day are the things that make the difference. And I don't think you need to try to, if you want to train to do like an Ironman or something like that, more power to you. But even for myself, I got asked to be in this test group for a really rigorous lifting program that I did a couple months ago. And it was 45-minute workouts, and it was so hard. It was so laborious. And I was trying to find the silver lining because I believe that life is happening for you at all times. And then I just recently switched back to like 30 minutes, a lot less impact, a lot more lifestyle based, and my results are incredible. So I don't think you need a whole overhaul. I think it's the showing up daily and moving your body in some way that adds up over time.
Two things about that. I think that when we talked about mindset, relationships, I think one of those third things is consistency, like to grow your business. Those three things are magical. Consistency and the right things.
Then you'll be like a mogul if you do all of that. Yeah.
That's right. So I'm glad you brought that up. The other thing is, for me, like, honestly, I don't have a trainer right now, but the difference would be they have a plan for me. I tell them what my goals are, and then they have a plan for me. I'm just going at it willy-nilly, right? I think, okay, I want bigger biceps, I'll do this. Or I want work on my back, I'll do this. It's not or I want to get like, I don't have a six pack, but I want to get a six pack. They would show me how to get a six pack. I don't know if it's possible at my age now, but
always is.
All right. So that is awesome. Now, we had mentioned a book a little bit ago that you had written a book. Can you tell us about that book?
I wrote it 5 years ago. It's called Skinny Jeans ? Like kind of how you define that for yourself, whether it means fitting into a pair or whatnot, that token pair. But it combined those three elements. There's a section on mindset, because I think that that's the key to any kind of lasting change. There's a section on fitness, and there's a section on nutrition. And I don't want to say, this is like not what you're supposed to say when you're like promoting yourself. I'm like, please don't go out and buy the book. It's like one of those things where it's like, it was like my first go of it. Like, it's kind of like you do the first podcast, you do the first book, you do the first social media post, and you're like, oh God, it's not awful. It's not, but it's very, very elementary. And I feel like things have evolved since then. And
so you're saying it's time to write your real book now. It's time to write that.
Right. It could use some revision. It could use it for sure.
Nice. So on your social media bio, it says helping women crush fitness and freedom. Know all about the fitness. We've talked about that. Now, explain to us what you mean by helping them crush freedom as well.
Freedom, and I love that this means like whatever it means to them. So for me, what that looks like, and it's morphed. I got into Beachbody coaching, which is like I just said, it's kind of like, people are like, what do you do all day? I just encourage other clients. So it's no different than saying like, do you want to come to an Orange Theory class? They've got a free month this month going on, or there's a yoga studio doing some workshop. So it's really the buddy system. And it's funny because I have clients that come in, and we were just talking about the accountability piece, or like, how do I follow a plan? How do I know if I'm doing it daily? And my clients who come in and they're like, Lauren, I keep falling off the wagon. I keep going these sugar benders, whatever it is. And they're usually the ones who make the best coaches. because so often we will show up for others before we show up for ourselves. I'm currently doing it with my children. I mean, I think they need they need me to. But so often we do that. And, you know, if I did not, I am in the best shape of my life after having been in the fitness industry for the past decade plus. And I'm in better shape now and continue to be because I know that I have to show up and be in the ring with them. And so when I say freedom, when I came into this business and this industry, I never thought I would do network marketing because at the end of the day, that's what it is. But I saw it as this vehicle to create a virtual business so I could have that family life as well. I am personally really inspired by travel. So it allows, you know, me to work remotely, but also there's really great trips that we do. I remember watching my mentor being like, wow, she's like throwing these wellness retreats and how does that work? And so that definitely caught my eye. And now it's really like, how can I help this next generation of little people that are coming up and like give them the mindset tools that I didn't have growing up. And so it's a really incredible way. I think I just heard, I hope I don't butcher this. It's something like the e-commerce business is going to hit $4 trillion this year. So like we are just like scratching the surface with e-commerce and content creation and you know, relationship building businesses like consulting or network marketing. Yeah. So that's the other piece of it.
Wow. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Lauren. This has been, I just liked catching up with you because it seems like it's been so long since we talked. And I'm glad that I reached out to you so we could do this interview. And now I feel like we're connected again.
Totally. I'm like, we could do this another hour.
That's right. That's right. There's so much more I could ask you and so much more you could say. But I do want to know how people can reach out to you. Like how can they know more about you, reach out to you, get involved with what you're doing?
Yeah. I would say most everything I do is on Instagram. Like that's probably like where I spend the most amount of attention. I am on Facebook as well. It's both it's Lauren Paige on Facebook, but then it's at laurenpage.says. I should be writing another book is what should be happening on Instagram. And that's, I mean, a lot of it, some of it's just my life with the kids. Some of it is fitness content, but that really is the basis of you know, what I do is I either help clients on their health and wellness journey, which is super fun, or if you are looking for that like passion project, that side hustle that, oh my God, inflation is out of control and I've got to figure out another stream of income. I do like that as well.
Nice. Yes. That is where it's at. Like right now is if you have one stream of income, you need at least one more.
Yeah.
Definitely check out Lauren on Instagram. You also have a website. What's your website address?
I do. It's lauren-page.com. And that is up to date as well. You can check that out as well.
Awesome. So check out Lauren, and until next time, Trailblazers, keep moving forward.